Good morning. It's about 24 minutes before 9 o'clock now on a Friday. The morning news with Webster and Nancy on WILK. And you know that at this time, every Friday, it's time for the Friday Beer Buzz. And the Friday Beer Buzz is brought to you by Krugel's Georgetown Deli and Beer. With over 1,100 selections of craft beer, they offer beer baskets and gift certificates for all occasions. Krugel's is not just beer. They offer great food for eat-in or take-out. Visit Krugel's Georgetown Deli, located next to the Big Cow on Route 309, Wilkes-Barre Township. And it's probably the beeriest place. You know, the funnest, what is the happiest place on earth is Disneyland?
Yeah.
Well, Krugel's is the beeriest place.
Beeriest.
on earth.
I like the word. It works for me.
Don't you think, Vince?
Yeah.
Yes, I do, actually.
And as always, each and every Friday morning, it's Bill from mybeerbuzz.com.
Good morning and happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you, Bill.
And I have to say a special thank you to Vince Sweeney for joining us today.
Absolutely. And
My
Vince,
pleasure.
Vince, you haven't been with us on the Beer Buzz since the special holiday edition last year.
Yes.
The hour long.
Yeah, that's right.
And sometimes we
What's
have
that
our-
all that was an hour? Well, that certainly flew by, as I recall.
Vince was nice enough to join us for our overextended holiday special.
That's right.
And you know, I made it through the whole hour,
Yeah.
and here we are again. I don't think I'm going to be able to contain myself unless I say, Vince said it would be like this.
Well, I love you. I gave you a big smooch for that.
I couldn't resist.
Thank you.
And by the way, Vince, while that was an hour-long, overextended holiday special, we sometimes have, they're even 2 and 3 hours long, and they're unrecorded.
Yes.
Versions
I
that we
see. Okay.
Practice.
And not even necessarily here in the studio. But
You continue them in your
it's,
office,
it's all about
perhaps.
conditioning, Vince, and I think
practice.
you know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you guys working out for? Navy SEALs drinking team?
Yes.
Boy, if they had one.
So we have a little buzz today.
Yeah, all right.
Our Krugel's Georgetown Deli tasting of tonight is from 5 to 7 p.m. And it's Sam Adams Latitude 48
Ooh.
deconstructed.
Wow, what does that mean?
Now, what that means is Latitude 48 first refers to the latitude where most of the hops in North America are grown. So we know it's going to be a hoppy beer.
Right, so already we've learned something about geography.
We have, I know, geography and
have.
beer. It's a twofer already. Well, the deconstructed version of this takes the hops and singles them out. So it's a single hop variety and deconstructs it that way.
Whoa.
So there is one beer in the pack that uses Hallertau, one beer that uses East Kent Goldings, one beer that uses Autonum, and I got to get these right, one beer that uses Simcoe, and one beer that uses Zayas.
Wow, that sounds kind of...
You know your hops?
That sounds
The
kind of...
Goldings, I know. The
That sounds sexy to me, Vince. I don't mind telling you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some people can. You know, I can identify 3 or 4, maybe 5 different ones if they are prominent or the singular.
I'm not
hops.
nearly... My palate is not so nearly refined as
I don't
that.
believe mine is either. I don't know if I can tell one hop from another. Hops is hops.
This is where the Navy SEAL drinking team comes in, John. You got to practice.
Well, see, they could tell you. That's right. That's
So
probably true.
we have a beer question today, and it's possibly our most popular or most asked question that we've ever had. We featured it on the show once
And
already.
is our beer question, you got any more beer?
Got any more for me? I'm sorry, it's our second most popular. Our most popular is, can I come into the studio and drink with you guys on Friday?
Yeah, right.
This is our second most popular, and it is about freshness dating.
Okay.
And we've talked about this before, and we have a little bit of an update on it, but people ask so much I thought I would reiterate a little bit. Freshness is important in beer. Not all beer, but freshness is important. Beers have freshness dates. Those dates are sometimes on the bottle, sometimes on the case. So you have to look a little bit for them.
Yeah.
Is it possible that sometimes, at least to my perception, that they don't exist at all?
Yes,
Yeah,
unfortunately, yeah. And that's...
And those are those scary ones, and especially if you
Yeah.
go someplace and there's dust on the bottle.
Like, this will last forever. I
Yeah.
don't think so. It also gripes me, quickly, that
Yeah.
they don't put the ABV on a lot of bottles of beer,
Yeah.
or
They-
cases, or six-pack
Yeah.
carriers.
Now,
I
they're-
wish they'd start doing that.
Yeah, they are required to do that when they file for label registration from the TTB.
Yeah, you did mention
Why it isn't always on the label, I don't understand. And freshness dating the same way. Unless I know that this beer came out of this brewery and it's a one-off release or the first release, you don't know. It could be last year's Harvestoun. You know,
Yeah, that's
that's
true.
always a scary thing. So I'm a big fan of no date, no buy. Unless you know that
Good
beer,
thinking. Good thinking. I like
no
that.
date,
yeah.
no buy.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And you know, as we've mentioned hundreds of times before, I love Ithaca Flower Power. And
Yes.
their date, there's a little notch and a little calendar kind of thing on the side of the label. And I was checking a bottle, and I pulled it out of the six-pack thing. The first one I pulled out, and explained to me how this could happen, the label on the bottle was upside down.
Yeah, I saw that. You posted that on Facebook. I saw that. I
You know,
have no idea how that
Doesn't
can
the
happen.
bottle have to go through upside down in order to get the label on it that way?
Or one bum label got flipped upside down, but I thought they come off of like a labeling strip.
roll, right.
Yeah, but anyway, I mean, some of these things do have a date, some of them don't.
Yeah.
How important is the date?
I would think it's very, very important
If
in my
it's-
taste.
If it's a fresh, hoppy beer, we're talking months, in terms of months.
Right.
If it is a dark barley wine or an old ale or an imperial stout, we're talking in terms of years. Blithering Idiot from Weyerbacher is labeled with a best by 5 years into the future.
Wow.
So that beer will sit in your basement. Store it nicely. Don't put it in the trunk of the car. Don't put it out in the sunlight on the porch. Store it nicely. And do pay attention as to whether it is a best by date, which Victory does. They give you 6 months from the bottling date, and so you have to sort of backtrack, or a bottled date, and that's very important as well.
But does this stuff degrade over time?
It does. Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to notice a definite difference in the taste.
You are.
If you run it out to the end of the best by
Yeah,
period.
no doubt.
You are, especially a fresh hop beer. A beer that is supposed to be consumed fresh is going to taste not as fresh. And if you have a very sensitive palate to hoppy beers and you like hoppy beers, that will make a huge difference. Some people, they may not know. My wife and I drink a lot of hoppy beers. 2 months or so from the bottling date, we can start to tell that the beer has changed. And the other thing that I wanted to update on this, people ask me, there's a code on the bottle and I can't tell what that code is. And what it is it's a Julian date code. And it's a 5-digit number that you're going to see there. The first 3 digits, don't pay any attention to right now. The last 2 digits are the year. So now they might say 11. So 3 digits and then a year. Those first 3 digits are the number of days into that year.
This is like that Tom Hanks movie.
Yeah. But it's not, it's not.
This is like really a mystery.
There's a Fibonacci sequence in there.
Absolutely. Yeah, Beer Job. I think I saw it on TLC.
So if the first 3 digits are 100, you know that beer was brewed 100 days into 2011. So if you see 10011, that means 100 days into 2011,
Well,
which is...
I'd never do that.
No, I went to Valley View. I'm not going to pick
Well, you don't have to do the exact math. If it says, if you're sitting in December and it says 1 of the previous year, you know that's the beer's probably a year old. But yeah, you have to sort of know that.
All right.
So that is our most asked question. I do want to throw it out before we go into the beer itself, too. I have family down in the Outer Banks, and they're having a good time. I know it's 8:30 in the morning, but you're on vacation, and you're listening to the show.
Well,
I want to hear some refrigerator doors opening right now in the Outer Banks.
Join along. We can
Yeah. So we have a beer today.
Yeah.
And for
I knew you were going to say that.
for 66 weeks of this show, I have chosen beers that unite people. That it may not be your favorite beer ever, but it's a beer you're going to be able to get behind and say, this is a good beer. It may not be my favorite style. Well, we're going to change that today on show number 67.
Alrighty.
This is a beer that divides people. And I don't want to say, don't jump to any conclusions and say, I'm going to hate this beer, it's going to be awful. People love it, and I mean really love it. This is my favorite beer of all time, or they really hate it.
Oh, that's how much they love it. This is not your favorite beer of all time.
Right.
Okay, all right.
So this is
You're shaking me up over here, Bill.
I'm going to open it up, and we'll talk about it. But our beer of the day is Harvestoun Dubh.
Harvestoun Dubh.
Where you born, boy? Where were you born?
If it's not Scottish, it's crap. All right, so this is Scottish, yeah? Is that right?
Ironically enough, it is Scottish.
Okay.
Well, then I'm probably going to like this because I like Scotch.
It looks like feathery mist in a
Scotch
glass.
tape, I like that as well.
And I'm
Yes, I love the taste.
I'm going to pour some and pass it around. And we should, we should do what we normally do with a beer here, and that is, let's look at the color first.
Okay, let me put my glasses.
So we'll pour it out here, and let's look at the color.
I'm being toyed with by our videographer here today. There we go. All right.
So we're going to do all the senses. Let's look at the color. The color is dark.
It's almost black.
So Ola Dubh is Gaelic for black oil.
Oh.
So look at it. That's a pretty good description.
Black oil.
Texas tea,
Black-
the first thing you know.
Black as oil.
Old Jed's a millionaire.
That's always the first thing you know.
Then we're gonna smell. We're gonna smell the beer.
I kind of like the smell of this beer.
Okay, yeah.
You're scaring me when you told me we're going to run screaming.
I like
Well, that.
So what do you get? You get a little oaky, a little.
I'm an Okie from Muskogee is what I
a
am.
little boozy.
Yeah.
A little peat. Yeah, a little smoky.
It's not unlike a stout. It's not unlike a Guinness.
Very much.
Or
This is what
Murphy's.
You said this is an old ale?
It's an old ale, and they start with a thing called Old Injun Oil, which is an imperial porter. And then they do what is special about this beer. They put it in Highland Park whiskey barrels.
Really?
And this is the only beer that has provenance. It goes into tagged and tracked barrels, and each one of these bottles is numbered and hand-signed by the brewer, Stuart Kale.
You
So
can
what is it?
track and prove where it
Yeah.
came from, how long it's been here,
Yeah.
how long it's been there.
Hey, what is it, $1,000 a bottle? How, like,
It's not. It's actually very affordable. It's brewed once a year, and it's sent to the United States only, and it's available at Krugel's. They make several different versions. They make a 12, 16, 30, and 40. Today we have the 30, and what that designates...
30 weight? Is
No,
that what-
yeah, 30, yeah. 10W30.
10W30.
Yeah.
That's what I like in my beer.
Have we tasted this yet, or
We're going for it right now.
Okay,
Cover me, I'm going in.
sorry.
Yeah, go ahead and taste while I tell you what 30 means. 30 means that the Highland Park whiskey barrels were used for 30 years. So this is an old whiskey barrel. It's going to impart a lot of flavor into their original imperial port.
And I'm going to tell you what, I just took a sip of this, and I'm seriously, you were telling me this might not be up everybody's alley, but
Yeah.
this doesn't have carbonation like a beer that you would, the standard beer that
Correct.
you would expect, but I like it.
Yeah.
I'm liking this.
It's a very smooth, easy drinking, well-balanced beer.
I must like every beer then, is that it?
It could be. I'll keep trying. It's a big beer, though.
I'd like
Now,
to
it-
teach the world to love all beers. It's a little sweet for my taste. It's
It is.
very sweet,
Yep.
and I don't really especially like
Yep.
sweet beer.
Yep.
And so that would be the only strike against it. Other than that, the taste before the sweetness lands on the back of your
Yeah.
palate is good.
This
But
is
then
the-
it finishes with that sweetness, and that's kind of gets me in.
It's the whiskiest beer that I
Right.
think I've ever had. Really.
Well, you think about it, it's been in an oak cask that had whiskey in it essentially for 30 years.
Yeah.
And then they put this beer into it. It does. It has notes of cocoa. You'll get some subtle cocoa. It has a lot of smoky, and what Vince said earlier, the peat. The peat comes out in it very, very strongly. It's only 8%. So when I say big, I'm not talking about big ABV, I'm talking about big flavor. And there's a lot of flavor here.
And I should tell you, Bill, that I have had whiskey in me for more than 30 years, so I feel like I can really offer some opinion on this.
And the one thing I tell people is if you're not in love with it when you try it the first time, pair it up with cheese.
Oh,
Because
that
with
sounds like
cheese, it balances it out very, very nicely. So this is one that will divide people, but you may love it. So try it.
I kind of like this. I'm telling you, I
Might
do.
you recommend a cheese, Sir Bill?
Oh, you know what? For me, I'm still relatively new to that, but something salty, something like a blue cheese or something like
Yeah.
a fragrant cheese, I think would go really well with this.
Okay.
Because of the sweetness, you want a salty to balance that out.
Right.
And will you pronounce the name of this beer for us one more time, Bill?
Harvestoun.
Harvestoun.
Yes.
Harvestoun
Yep.
Ola Dubh.
Ola Dubh.
Ola
And it's
Dubh.
Gaelic for black oil.
And you can get it at Krugel's.
Yep.
Well, I kind of like this, Vince. You think? I mean, I know you said it's a little sweet, but
I could probably drink a glass of it. I mean,
Yeah.
I could see me doing it, but hang on, let me try a little.
And according to the website, they say this should be welcomed at the gourmet table, that it is too rich and complex for a relaxed afternoon.
yeah. Well, it sounds good to me. And you can get yours at Krugel's. And visit Krugel's Georgetown Deli and Beer, Northeast Pennsylvania's craft beer headquarters. You can enjoy a craft beer on draft in their tap room, or fill your growler and enjoy one of their tap beers from your own home. Krugel's Georgetown Deli, located next to the Big Cow on Route 309 of Wilkes-Barre Township. Let's raise our glasses. This is the Friday Beer Buzz, bringing good beers and good people together.
Let's have a party and drink up a lot of beer. Let's have a party and drink up a lot of beer. Well, wine is fine, but give me lots of beer. Wanna drink some beer, talk some trash this morning.